welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Defense Secretary promotes women engineers in the Army, Air Force. And on the international scene, COVID-19 doesn't recurred in US with more than 1 million cases in 24 hours. Those were the major top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, presided this morning at the ceremony of awarding stripes to female personnel of the Air Force. In total, 5 female personnel of the Air Force were elevated to the rank of officers. These officers, trained in Morocco for a course of 3 years, have distinguished themselves by their training as specialists in the field of aviation. Thus, the Djiboutian Armed Forces have the first female military pilot of the Djiboutian Army, but also the first female pilot of the Republic of Djibouti in the person of Second Lieutenant Yasmin Daher Ismail. We also note female military injuries in aeronautics and air traffic controls. Upon his arrival in the technical area of the Air Force, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Umar Mohammed, was welcomed by the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Before going to the official gallery, the minister, accompanied by the Semga, proceeded to a taking up arms composed of the personnel of the Air Force. Followed by 5 recipients, the delegation of officials of the staff closed the device. Participated in the ceremony of awarding stripes General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of Defense Staff, Colonel Major Mohammed Kayed Gali, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Colonel Wa'is Umar Boghore, Commander of the Coast Guard, and several senior officials of the armed forces in Djibouti. Through this ceremony, the female personnel of the ADF were honored. Since the creation of the ADF, the role of the female personnel of the ADF has constantly evolved. Nowadays, the Djiboutian woman is represented in all social layers of the administration, both in the civilian world and in the army. This change in the statute of the Djiboutian woman has allowed the female personnel of the ADF to occupy various jobs within the armed forces as doctors, health auxiliaries, social workers, technicians, and administrative staff, without forgetting the female military personnel who participate in peacekeeping missions as in Somalia since 2011. Courageous and willing, our female personnel participate with dedication and a high sense of duty in peacekeeping missions in Somalia since 2011. Thus, our pilot and our female aeronautical engineers and air traffic controls complete this picture and further agitate the modernization of the ADF. This initiation of the Djiboutian woman was made possible thanks to the enlightened vision of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, Head of the Government and Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, who put the Djiboutian woman at the heart of his policy. In his speech, the Semga first described this day as exceptional because through a policy of modernization and empowerment, Second Lieutenant Yasmin Daher Ismail becomes not only the first female military pilot of the Djiboutian Army, but also the first female pilot of the Republic of Djibouti. For his part, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, expressed his warm congratulations to the recipients and stressed that this promotion is granted to them as a reward for the remarkable work provided throughout their entire training. At the end of the speeches, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed promoted the 5 female officers of the Air Force to the rank of officer for dedication and efforts. Among these 5 female officers of the Air Force, there is a pilot, 2 engineers in aeronautics, and 2 air traffic controls. As usual, the Military High Command has invited all guests to a breakfast in a serene atmosphere animated by traditional songs and dances by the Harbi troupe.
idin dhiman dhalan dholka geediga halkeedaaga loo raray maxayni soo maray ma waxba idin dhiman dhalan dholka geediga halkeedaaga loo raray
toddobaatan dhulkacay dhigeygii sideedaad dhagaxii u horreeyo dhagabtii la tuuro toddobaatan dhulkacay
The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, received today the courtesy visit of the new Ambassador of India to Djibouti, Mr. Chandra Mooley, accompanied by Mr. Mukesh Kumar, Head of the Chancellery of the Indian Embassy, in the presence of Mr. Eltir Ibrahim, Advisor to the Minister of Defense. The minister and the diplomat discussed the state of the bilateral relations between India and Djibouti. They also discussed ways and means to further consolidate the ties of friendship and cooperation between the two countries. It was also discussed the conditions conducive to strengthening the technical and tactical capabilities of the Djiboutian Navy. The new Minister of Budget, His Excellency Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, organized this morning a meeting to get in touch with all the directors of his department. The Minister of Budget, surrounded by his Secretary General Simon and the Chief of Staff Abdul Fattah Musa, and technical advisors, made a solemn speech in which he shared the roadmap and the principles of government. One Ibrahim was the watchword of the day, that of taking concrete, sustainable, and development-bearing actions. To do this, it is important to put in place solid foundations to develop the necessary action for the well-being of the population. The minister emphasized the importance of cohesion, complementarity, and collective involvement of all the actors of the ministry to impulse a dynamic of work and responsibility. For this, in conclusion, the minister thanked the executives for the warm welcome he received. He reiterated his availability with his commitment to work closely with all the stakeholders of the department in order to achieve together the targeted objectives. The Minister of Budget first expressed his deep gratitude to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for the confidence granted through his appointment as head of the Ministry of Budget. In his speech, the Minister of Budget, Isman Ibrahim Roble, urged all senior officials to show responsibility, self-sacrifice, fighting spirit, and intelligence to carry out their respective missions. Yesterday in Arta, the training center of hospitality and tourism, Sunny Hill Center, was held a lunch of honor offered by the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, to the Mayor of the city of Hargeisa, capital of Somaliland, and his delegation. Indeed, the Mr. Mayor Abdul Karim Ahmed Moge is on an official visit to Djibouti for 2 days and is invited by his counterpart, Mrs. Mayor of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Usman Awale. Upon arrival at Sunny Hill, the delegation was warmly welcomed by the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training and his colleagues, the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Qadir Musa Hilim, the Prefect of the region, the President of the Regional Council, local elected officials, as well as civil and military authorities of the region, without forgetting the students of the training center. The lunch took place in a remarkable conviviality. Still in the continuity of the tour started by Ms. Djibouti since her return from Tanzania, it is the turn of the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Excellency Mohammed Warsamederi, to receive the letter. Ms. Mahdia, after thanking the Minister for receiving her, told him about the mission she had given herself during her stay in Tanzania to promote tourism in the country. Excellency Mohammed in turn thanked the Miss for her visit and praised the efforts of his colleagues, Excellency Hibo, for the promotion of culture and assured the young woman of his support for the achievement of her objectives. Still in the continuity of the visit tour started by Ms. Djibouti, the letter was received this morning by the Minister Delegate in charge of the Digital Economy and Innovation, Her Excellency, Madam Mariam Hamadou Ali. Ms. Mahdia thanked the Minister for receiving her and shared with her her experience when the beauty contest was held in Tanzania. She also said that this experience has opened a new opportunity that she intends to use very soon for the realization of her project of schooling for young girls from disadvantaged backgrounds. Excellency Mariam did not fail to express her joy at the visit of the Miss, whom she encouraged to go further towards the young girls and serve as a model. She assured her support to accompany her in this new adventure. The Ministry of Youth and Culture, Her Excellency Dr. Hibu Mumin Asawi, had the honor and pleasure to receive this morning the young researcher and scientist in artificial intelligence, Mr. Abu Bakr Adan Hussein. From the top of his 25 years, the young man who has an atypical career has traced his program since his return to the country. A program composed of meetings, conferences, and visits that allow him to share his expertise and provide advice on how to use artificial intelligence to improve the lives of Djiboutians. Her Excellency Dr. Hibu appreciated the quality of the exchange with the young men and spoke about the existence and impact of artificial intelligence in everyday life. Similarly, the importance for young people in the diaspora to be the spokesperson for the country of origin and find investors capable of positively impacting the Djiboutians. The vaccination coverage of children up to 5 years is the first pillar and directive of the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble. It is in this optic that the multi-antigenic vaccination campaign called Advanced Strategy, which consists in completing the vaccinal coverage by catching up the portions of the children who were not vaccinated or insufficiently immunized, such as the loss of the sight, the children of a very distant locality of any health structure, coordinated and supervised by Mr. Nuh Saeed Wa'es, advisor to the Minister of Health, and Dr. Abdul Qadir Muhammad Ali, head physician of the Obokh Health Region. The medical team of the Obokh region carried out a vaccination campaign that started on January 24th, 2021 and lasted for 12 days. Passing through the majority of the localities that make up the Obokh region in order to carry out a multi-nation vaccination coverage for all the children that the health post could not cover adequately. After 12 days in the field, this catch-up vaccination campaign were closed on for January and October. The chief doctor recalled the importance of this campaign and said that more than 1,000 children have been immunized thanks to this campaign and the frequent outgoings of the mobile teams of the CHR. The Ministry of Health warmly thanked the regional authorities who participated in the closing days of the advanced strategy. The rural population as well as the local authorities thanked the Ministry of Health and asked that this action be repeated at least 3 times a year. As part of the beautification of the city, the mayor of the city of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatouma Awali Usman, announced to the public that the place, Mahmoud Harbi, will be rehabilitated very soon in bus stations. Thus, the mayor advises the population that there would be work for some time and urged the residents, as well as all users, to be patient. Finally, the mayor informs that during the rehabilitation, the platforms will be opened gradually and calls on users and professionals. The Consul General of Djibouti in Dirdawa informs that a young boy named Samir Mohammed Noor, 13 years old, was found in this afternoon in Shilne in Ethiopia. According to the young boy, his mother's name is Hamd Ismail Mohammed. His family lives in Humbuli near the Al-Rashid Mosque. If you have any information, please contact the Consul General of Djibouti in Dirdawa at the following numbers: 0025 1935 64 78 49, 0025 1939 47 0080, or 0025 1915 73 50 40. Rahu Abdul Qadir Ibru, 16 years old student, is missing. Having not returned home, she has been missing for several days. The people who have information are invited to join the family on the number 21 36 47 16 or 77 09 67 16. It is with dismay that we have learned of the death of Anele Saeed Ragi yesterday morning following a car accident. Born on March 1st, 1976, the deceased spent his entire professional career at the Lake Asal salt plant. He will leave the memory of a helpful and smiling man. We are his and him to return. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving on towards the international scene right now, the first anti-COVID drug available in Italy. Merck's anti-COVID pill is available in Italy as of this Wednesday. Approved by the Italian Drug Agency on December 22, it can be used in case of emergency. It is a red pill that can be taken at home and reduces severe cases of hospitalizations if taken within 5 days of the first symptoms. Otherwise, it is useless. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for joining us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening and thank you again.